carry on with this print. And what I started off by doing is, I started by putting masking tape on this sheet, because it was the idea of like adding layers and removing layers. So I've added the layers of the masking tape. What happens when I print on top of that and then remove bits of the ink? Maybe it's not going to work, maybe it is. It's all just an experiment to see what happens.
So why have you decided to use masking tape? What would happen if you didn't include this?
I think I want like a simple way of removing some of the ink and a simple way of being able to maybe have some bits of ink and then some not. Because also I've got these like little tabs here, so I could just peel it off and see what happens, and I didn't want it to like rip off, I wanted it to just slightly come off a bit, so we'll see what happens. So I'm going to first of all print this just to this side.
I wonder what would happen if you put it at an angle.
See, I was just thinking of doing that, so I might first do it like this, and then...
You know what I'm getting from this? Robert Rauschenberg,
yes.
You know those collages you did were about, was it Kennedy?
Yeah.
I think it was Kennedy, yeah. And it was about all the American politics and culture, wasn't it?
Yeah. So now I'm trying it from an angle. Maybe that might change the piece. Ooh. It is quite exciting to see what will happen. Because maybe you shouldn't always have it perfectly straight. Maybe you put it off to an angle. Maybe that makes a different effect. So what I might quickly do is just add a little bit more ink onto here, because I think it's kind of coming off a bit.
So this is the piece close up, as you can see. You can see it's like a gradual effect, just gradually losing more and more ink as it's going along. So the idea is as well, you're kind of like, whilst you're introducing information, that information is slowly diminishing, which is what happens in the media, isn't it? Cast.
It certainly is. I mean, a lot of things we're doing is reflecting back to the media, and it's reflecting back to the world we're living in.
I think even though we don't all want to admit it, we are affected by the media in some shape or form, whether it is TV, radio, internet, anything.
Word of mouth, even.
I mean, yeah, we can't even get away from it even if we're not on these.
I mean, you hear about it all the time in real life.
The amount of times people go, oh, can you imagine what's happened, like, latest news? You might not have even watched it, but then you're suddenly talking about it, and it's crazy how you're engaging with the media, even if you're not necessarily watching it, or after you've watched it, you're engaging with something that's already happened.
Right, so I'm pretty happy with that. So now is the exciting bit of peeling off the layers. And I'm doing it quite slow as to not rip.
It's very fragmented, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. That is something
that you're taking away the print structure.
Yeah, that's true.
And this removal of information is also important in our work, as well as this idea of removing the information. Because removing and adding is what constantly is happening when we think of what's around us. You have stuff put up, you have stuff taken down, you have stuff being banned. You might have someone putting out a tweet and it's suddenly removed.
It's removed, yeah.
You might have media that's happened and it's suddenly disappeared and never spoken about again. So it's very interesting when you think of what information is left and still continues to be significant, and what is also erased. Why is it erased? Is it deliberate? Is it accidental? Who knows? Who knows?
And what's quite interesting is it is ripping the paper a little bit, but I think that's a good thing, because again it's proving that things are not always perfect, things are not always exactly...
It looks very ghost like in appearance.
Yeah. It's a very interesting way of doing it, because you just lose a lot of what was on there and it just creates such a new idea, a new piece.
It's interesting as well, it's created a cross. Because if you think about it, the political symbol within a lot of politics is this idea of voting. Who did we vote for? Did we vote for the right person? Did we vote for the wrong person? And it's something that's often divided within us as a nation and also across the world, is to who we vote for and our values, because we might all be the same in a lot of ways and grow up in the same country, mightn't we? But we're actually divided when it comes to our political views by various different means. Maybe it's political circumstances, maybe you're affected by the previous government or you're affected by this government. But it's really interesting when you think of all the aspects that comes into how people vote and that cross.
It's reminding me of
yeah
voting.